But, if you don't have a right to be here, we should, determine that quickly and finally, and then repatriate you to your home country. And so you're having that there. So they're in both of those facilities, and then DHS will then take from there. So they run flights out of the airport down at Alligator Alcatraz, which is right on site. That's one of the reasons why that facility was identified, because you literally just drive them a couple thousand feet, they go on a plane and gone. Baker County, we like that because it was a pre-existing facility. It didn't cost us a lot of money to stand it up. Even though we get reimbursed, we still want to, do things as economically as possible. So they have to usually they go to Lake City Airport, which isn't far, but you got to get them in a van and kind of go from there. So we've been able to, help effectuate, a lot comparative, to what the previous 4 years of deportation flights out of the state of Florida. And our state, and look, it's interesting. Remember, January of 2025, a few weeks before Donald Trump took office, I called a special session of the Florida legislature. Why? Because I said the American people want immigration solved. They want the border stopped, but then they also realize you can't have 10 million people come in under Biden and just stay, that you have to have enforcement and removal operations. But I also understood that there are issues with doing that effectively. So we did a lot of stuff in that special session that I called. The main thing was making sure that all state and local law enforcement agencies had a duty to assist DHS with interior enforcement. And now look at and a lot of people at the time, we had a little turbulence with the legislature, like all the voters who were keyed in on it were like, we need to do it, and so we did it. We got it done. I think the voters made themselves clear on that. But even then at the time, they kind of, knew that we needed to be strong, but I don't think people fully appreciated how important it was to ensure that these local officials and our state agencies are on the same team, with DHS in this. I don't want a Minneapolis mayor situation in Florida. Well, guess what? Because of that legislation that we insisted on, if you did have a situation where they were trying to, well, one, if they were even non-cooperative, refusing to cooperate, but if they try to sabotage especially, we have the ability to remove them from office, suspend them from their positions. And so there's real teeth into what we're doing. So we saw that would be. Now think about what's unfolded since then. Florida, you have this. We have almost 20,000 apprehensions of illegal aliens between our local and state law enforcement, and that's in addition to what DHS is doing on their own. And so they probably have done twice that many just in the last pretty much 9 months is when this stuff really started to ramp up. But everyone knows their duties. Everyone knows they've got to cooperate. I understand some will be show a little more zeal in doing that than others, but you cannot not cooperate, and you definitely can't sabotage because there'll be consequences. Well, if every state did that, you would not have some of the problems that we're seeing, around the country. That's just a fact. You have governor, mayor in some of these states, Minnesota and others, where, one, they refuse to cooperate. Why would you not? Think about it. I don't care what your view is on immigration, but if you have someone who's here illegally and they commit crimes in your state and violate your state law, and then they're getting out of prison, why would you not have DHS come pick them up and send them home? Why would you release them into your communities? That's really, really problematic that you would do that. So that's just like the bare minimum of cooperation that you would want to do. They don't even do that. They don't do that in California in some of these places. But then you have kind of the next thing where they're really whipping up. And look, you can protest against this all you want, but that's different from impeding their ability to operate, from trying to sabotage the proper functions of federal law enforcement. And if you don't like the fact that someone here illegally is going to be returned to their home country, you can run for office promising a big amnesty. You can do that. You have the freedom to do that. You won't win if you do that, but you have the freedom to do that. So So what they're doing is really, it's a form of interposition, basically, where, because it's funny, well, it's not funny, it's sad. When Biden was in, we did legislation saying it's illegal to enter the state of Florida if you're an illegal alien. And the court said, no, that's immigration's federal. You can't be creating your own crimes relating to immigration. It's all the federal government. So they will try to handicap and handcuff states that want to see federal immigration law enforced fully and the way it's written. Then you have a change of administration. They're trying to enforce, these laws. But then it's somehow okay for state and local to just kneecap the enforcement of that so that it's hard to get done. And you know what? They're doxing these agents. They're trying to create an environment where these people are harmed. So it's a very difficult situation when if you're on the street there and you have a target on your back. I mean, you've got people that are very well organized, and they're not just there to protest. I mean, some of these people are there to really stop what's going on and take matters into their own hands. And that's a really, really toxic situation, but it's been created because of some of these politicians and what they're doing. So Florida's been the opposite. We laid down the law very quickly. I understood. I saw what could happen if you didn't do what we did. We did it. I was right at the time, and obviously now, looking in hindsight, we were doubly right to do it.